last thing I did forget to mention, guys, we're in the great state of Wisconsin where we have a mandatory safety belt law. Wings reach underneath the green seats, grab the brown belts, buckle up for the roll, we'll be good to go. We don't ever find it, all right?
All right.
All back, okay?
Swans over there. No worries though, if we don't see any actual wildlife on our trip, I'll pass the microphone on over to our two co-pilots. They can tell us all about their wildlife. And as quickly as we've started our journey, we are coming up on our first splashdown. You guys ready? Alright, let's see if I remember to put those plugs in today. Here we go. Watch your feet, here comes that water. As simple as 1, 2, and then 3, excuse me, sir. We are now a boat. The first thing I did when we got into the water is push the little lever between the seats here forward. That engaged our 45-pound brass propeller in the back. That's what's pushing us through the water right now. The second thing I did is push the 2 levers in front of the co-pilot seat forward, and that actually is my transfer case, and that disengaged all 6 of our wheels. So if you do look off to the left or right-hand side, you should be able to see those floating on up to the top right now. Yeah, if you do see a tire floating away, guys, please let me know. They are not supposed to do that. We might need them in a second to get out of the lake. Now, like I mentioned, these are plastic swans over here. A little cheesy to have them out floating around, but they're actually here for a good reason. They are spear geese, kind of like a scarecrow. It's supposed to keep the geese away because swans are more aggressive than geese are. And it works about half the time. Usually every morning they're swimming around here until they apparently decide to be afraid of those things. And as quickly as we've started our journey, we're coming to our second splashdown. That sound all right with you guys? Yeah, I figured you don't have a whole lot of choice anyway. I'm the one driving if you didn't notice. Here we go again. Now, we'll dry off. It's pretty hot. Don't worry. All right, everybody. We have safely made it into Lake Sally once again. Lake Sally is an artificial lake that we have here on the property. It is also a private lake, and we made it just for you. Being an artificial lake, it does provide the perfect breeding ground for the unofficial state bird, the mosquito. Fortunately enough for all of you guys, though, it's a little bit breezy today, so we're probably not going to have to deal with any of those pesky buggers on tour. Is anybody on board here from Chicago today? Usually we have at least one group per tour. You guys are more than welcome to use those water emergency exits at any time. And we'll keep you guys. I'm actually from Minnesota, so to the Wisconsinites, I'm a little bit worse than the people from Chicago. I don't really know why, though. The Vikings are horrible at football. Well, that one's real stiff today. I'll try another trick. Sticker and reverse. There we go. Well, G.I. Jane was built in 1945, so she's a bit picky sometimes. Alright, we have safely made it out of Lake Sally for the last and final time, meaning we are entering our first land obstacle of today's journey. As we go around the corner here, we are going to be going up Sand Trap Hill. Sand Trap does get its name because ducks do happen to get stuck here from time to time. No worries though, all great duck drivers have a fantastic plan on how to get out. My plan is simply this. Me and all the other strong men on board are going to make our way to the back of the duck, lower the women and children down to safety to lighten the load a little bit. Then all of us men are going to run up here and they purchase up here. There are a few deer sleeping over there, huh? It's pretty hot out. They don't like the heat just as much as you don't. Hey, One-Arm Willie, how's it going today? Hey, this is Scott Polani. He's buried up to his eyeballs. Off to our right, you can see my ex-girlfriend, Sasquatch.
Why you left it?
If we would get G.I. Jane stuck on our tour today, or if I would, I should say, you guys don't have anything to do with it, we're probably not going to be able to move her by hand. She weighs about 7.5 tons empty. Up in front of us, you can see Lake Delton. This is where we are going to be splashing down once again. So, on the count of 3, we're going to have everybody that's on this side of the duck jump to this side. We'll get this puppy on 3 wheels, squeeze between the 2 houses off the red dock and into the lake. You ready? Yeah, that sounds like a horrible plan. I don't ever want to do that again. So, we are going to be taking a right-hand turn, finding a little bit safer way to enter the lake. A bit farther up the road. I'll see you there in a few minutes. Just a quick right and a short left way. The only other thing we have to do is go around Suicide Hill. Here we go. And there is a duck in the road other than us. I wonder what she's doing. Bye. Alright guys, just gonna pass a couple of those do not worry signs. And here we go. Push on this one more time there. Perfect. We have safely made it into magical Lake Delton.
Magical Lake Delton.
Lake Delton is also an artificial lake. We'll be talking about that in just a second here. As we pass these trees off to our right, we'll be talking about our first point of interest. You can see that large stone building over there. That is Sarrington's Mill. That mill was powered by Dell Creek, which used to run along the right-hand shoreline. It obviously does not any longer because Lake Delton has taken its place. Lake Delton actually put Sarrington's Mill out of business because there was no current running past it anymore, so they have converted it into J1 housing. Now, if you don't know what that is, J1 is a program we have here in the Dells, as well as a lot of other tourist places, so that we bring people across the ocean to come here and help us during the really busy season of the summer. Make sure that we can help you guys a little bit more efficiently. Now, you cannot have them come over, though, unless there is a place for them to stay. So all the business owners have to have buildings that are converted into like hotel, motel, dormitories type living, and that's what that mill has been turned into. Now, way back in the early 1900s, that mill was used by local farmers to grind their grain into flour. That's what it was used for back in the day. A little bit farther behind it, you can kind of see those green umbrellas back there if you want to take a peek, and that is Ravenna Bay. Back there is where the Tommy Bartlett show was before COVID killed it in 2020. That's the water ski show that we had here. It's actually a pretty cool show. I worked for those guys before I was a duck driver. I used to be one of their top performers too until they had to let me go due to the pandemic. I sold the most popcorn. Yeah. Now, the other reason I had you guys look straight back behind us to see Ravenna Bay has nothing to do with the bay itself. It's now so when you go home and all of your friends ask you, hey, what you do in the Dells, you can tell them, well, I looked out the rear end of the duck. Looks like a few of my friends are over there hanging on the beach having some fun. Everybody wave. Hi, ducks. Now, of course, I'm talking about the birds. I don't have any real friends, everybody. Those birds over there are obviously migratory waterfowl. Does anybody on board think they know how to spell duck? It's usually going out to all the kids. Yeah. D-U-C-K. D-U-C-K. Well, that is actually incorrect. I'm sorry. No, you spelled the bird correctly, but I spelled duck a lot differently than most. I spell it D-U-K-W-353. You might be looking at me like I'm some kind of weirdo, and that is probably true, but not for that reason. That's actually an acronym for these ducks. D stands for 1942, when they started making them. U stands for utility vehicle or amphibious vehicle. A stands for all-wheel drive, and W stands for twin rear axles. The 353 is the beginning part of a serial code number that was unique to each and every one of these ducks. Now, the reason we call these ducks ducks is because during World War II, all the people that drove these vehicles got sick of calling them the UKW353s. It doesn't really roll off your tongue like duck does. The serial code number to this duck is 353-16035. All right, everyone, I do believe I've gotten this duck pretty well warmed up. Who wants to see what we can really do out here on the water? All right, hang on to the seat of your pants. Here we go. There you go. Yeah, that's about all she's got. Like I mentioned, G.I. Jane's about 7.5 tons, so she is not really built for speed. She is built for pulling things. During World War II, we'd be able to put about 2.5 tons of cargo where you guys are right now, as well as for another 2.5 tons of cargo in a trailer out the back. to be able to pull all that weight. You might be thinking there must be a massive engine underneath this really big hood to be able to pull all that weight, and I am here to tell you that is not the case. Each and every morning I do prep the original straight 6-cylinder 91.5 horsepower engine. Oh yeah, feel that power. The reason that teeny tiny engine is able to pull such a heavy load is because the transmission is geared extremely low. That does wreak havoc on the fuel economy. On land we can go about 45 miles per hour in our highest gear down a really steep hill. At that moment in time we get about 3 miles to the gallon. Out here on the water we go quite a bit slower, only about 5 to 7 miles per hour, like I just showed you. We're getting just 1 gallon to the mile. Not the most environmentally friendly vehicle in the world, but you can see we are doing our best to go green with this fancy paint job. Now, all the way on the other side of the lake over there, you're going to see a large concrete wall with a rusted iron drawbridge looking thing, as well as a little yellow sign that says dam. If you get too close enough, you'll be able to read it. Now, the reason it says that is because it is, in fact, a dam. Now, that dam gets its name from a man named William J. or W.J. Newman for short. He was a Chicago millionaire who wanted his very own private lake and resort, so he moved up here, bought an entire forest, and chopped down all the trees. Now, once the trees were gone, it was pretty easy to dam up Bell Creek over there and flood the what was forest and make the lake. Now, like I mentioned, this lake actually put Sarrington's Mill out of business. Unfortunately for W.J. Newman, in 1929, the stock market crashed real big right before the Great Depression, and he lost all $30 million of his money since he was heavily invested. Ended up declaring bankruptcy, and he had to sell the lake and the land around it back to the city so that he could pay off some of his debts. Fortunately for all of us, though, the city wanted to make the lake public and added a couple of little access points. That's why people are able to tear around today, on their tubes or fishing boats, kayaks, swimming, whatever you want. A little while ago, I did say Lake Delta is kind of magical. Can anybody guess why that is? No guesses? Well, Lake Delta is kind of magical because it does disappear from time to time. It could be a little while ago, but back in 2008 we got nearly 18 inches of rain in just about 2 hours. All that water pooled into the lake, caused the water level to rise so quickly that it started spilling over that levee where you can see the cars going by off to the right-hand side where that purplish rocky shoreline is.